It's going live for the Connecticut probate courts January 1st. You'll be able to file all probate matters through the e-filing system, through TurboCourt. There are some exceptions in terms of documents that the courts still need an original paper version of, wills, codicils, things like that. When you're going through TurboCourt, it'll actually point out to you which of those documents are in that category. You can actually still electronically file those documents so that the court has them, but they'll sort of stamp e-filed across them, and they won't actually process it until they receive the original paper version of those types of documents, just so you know. But essentially everything you're going to be able to file through the e-filing system. You can initiate new cases through the system. You can file documents into existing cases. If there are filing fees or other fees associated with your filing, you'll be shown that exact fee amount and be able to pay that fee through the system. You're going to be able to do something called e-service. This is for any time you're filing documents into an existing case. You no longer have to go through all of the efforts and process of physically serving folks on that case. You're going to be able to do it instantaneously, electronically now. I'll be demonstrating all of this that I'm talking about right now. It's an extraordinarily efficient way of doing service, and so we highly recommend you take a look at that. As I go through today's training, I'll point out some recommendations, suggestions, pro tips, that sort of thing. And let's go ahead and just jump right in. So in order for your firm to be able to use the e-filing system, you need to register with TurboCourt. So let me walk you through doing that right now. What you're looking at on screen is the TurboCourt homepage, and you get here by simply going to turbocourt.com. Now, this is a testing and a training environment, hence the very large red warning sign that you're seeing as well, but it looks very similar to what you'll encounter when you go to the actual live production site. And also, just so you know, TurboCourt has been in production for 15, 20 years. It's across the country, courts, government agencies, and so forth. So you can actually go to turbocourt.com today, start setting up your law firm, adding your users, and so forth. The Connecticut probate e-filing will be live January 1st. So you won't be able to do anything yet in the Connecticut probate courts until January 1st. But if you wanted to take a look and start setting up your firm ahead of that, you're welcome to do so. Okay, so in order to register your firm, you're here at the home page, turbocourt.com, and you click on the sign up button off on the right-hand side there. And it's going to ask for your name, that is not my name. And then you'll establish a password. The next two fields are a security question and answer. These are optional. This will allow you to automatically recover your password if you happen to forget it. I do highly recommend that you use these fields in case you do forget your TurboCourt password, but for the moment, I'm going to go ahead and leave them blank. So that's it. My first and last name, my email address, and a password that I'm establishing. When I click sign up, it asks me what type of TurboCourt account do you want to register? Individual, business, attorney law firm, various government agencies. You absolutely want to select attorney law firm. Do not select anything else. Do not select business. Do not select individual, even if you're a solo practitioner, because you will have restricted functionality if you're not listed as an attorney/law firm. I click continue, and because I selected attorney law firm, it wants to know the name of our firm. A phone number field and a field for your juris number are also on this particular window. I'm going to go ahead and leave those blank for now as well. So the only thing that you need to provide in order to set up your firm's TurboCourt account is your first and last name, your email address, choose a password, and provide your firm's name. That's it. I click sign up, and TurboCourt is now creating our firm's account, and I become our firm's first user within the TurboCourt system. And there's no cost for this. As I said, you can do this at any time. What you're seeing on the screen right now is another level of security. It's called multi-factor authentication. You will not encounter this when you're doing this right now. This is something that's going to be implemented system-wide across all of TurboCourt, probably around March 1st. So if other people join on later on, they may in fact see what I'm about to show you. So that's why we're going to show this to you right now, just in case you encounter it, you know what to do with it, or you can advise somebody else in what needs to be done here. It's very simple. We're just going to be sending a code to your email address to make sure you are who you say you are. There are some Connecticut probate court specific areas of multi-factor authentication that are going to be implemented immediately. We'll be showing you those as well. That has to do with when you're wanting to access confidential cases, for example. So I'll show you that a little bit later on. Once multi-factor authentication is implemented around March 1st for registering and things like that, what you'll go through is what I'm about to show you. So this little box tells me that I was just sent an email with an authentication code. So I've switched over to my email, and sure enough, it says, welcome to TurboCourt. I'll click on that link, and there's the code. For this one, it's 107841. 107841. I'll click next, and now we can also authenticate you through your cell phone, because there's all sorts of messaging options that can come to you. I'll explain that momentarily. So you can also authenticate your cell phone. For now, I'm just going to go ahead and skip that. Okay, that's it. I'm done. I've set up my firm's account. I am our first user. And again, as I said, you won't even do that multi-factor authentication if you do this in the next couple of months. So let's take a look first and foremost at your profile as a user of the system. Okay? There's two different ways you can access your profile from your home page. In the upper right-hand corner, there are several buttons. One of them is the profile button. Also, on the left-hand side, there is a user menu, and there are several items in your user menu. One of them is my profile. I'll go ahead and click on that one. And so here I see we're registered as an attorney law firm. It shows me my access level. I'll explain that in just a moment. And then standard functionality, if the field has an asterisk next to it, it means it's required. If there's no asterisk, it's optional. So in my profile, now that I'm there, I need to provide my phone number. And again, if I'm an attorney, where the field says state bar number, this is where you'd put in your juris number. And if you're an attorney and you will be filing through the system, you do need to provide your juris number. Here's where the security question and answer fields are again. So you can add or edit them at any time. And any changes you make here, just make sure you click update. So I want to go back to my profile. I'm not quite done yet, so I'm going to click on the profile button in the upper right corner this time. In my profile, at any point in time, I can change my password. It says request new password. I'll just click on that right-facing arrow. We'll send you an email with a link. Click on the link, and you can very quickly change your TurboCourt password. Okay? Now, this is true of everybody that you register as a user for TurboCourt within your firm. Everybody has this same profile. So let me explain now these access levels that you're seeing here. There's a user and 3 different administrators. Everybody that's registered in TurboCourt is given the access level of user. That means you can prepare and submit filings, whether you're an attorney or a paralegal, legal assistant, whoever you are, you have the ability to prepare and submit filings. You can also manage your own profile. We also have 3 different administrative levels within the system. So there's a company administrator. The company administrator is managing your company's contact information for the firm within TurboCourt. We're showing you this functionality. The company administrator is also the one who can add new users to your firm's account, can establish what their access level is, should any of them be in any of the administrative roles. You can deactivate a user. So if somebody leaves the law firm, you'll deactivate their account. You don't want to delete it because you need all of that filing information for historical purposes, for reporting, financial, all of that, right? You need access to their filings. So you don't delete it, you simply deactivate it, which means they're not going to be able to log in anymore, but other folks that have administrative access can see their filings. Okay? So the company administrator is managing your users and managing your company's contact information. Then there's a filing administrator and a financial administrator. Now for those two, the word administrator is actually a little misleading. There isn't a lot of administration per se that they're doing, as there is with the company administrator who's managing users. The filing administrator simply has access to all of the filings across the entire firm. So if I'm an attorney and I'm filing, I get to see my filings, but I don't get to see the filings of the attorney down the hall from me, okay? But the filing administrator does. Filing administrator has the ability to see everybody's filings, and there's very good uses for that functionality. In a similar way, the financial administrator has access to all of the payments that have been going through for anybody's filings in your firm. So once again, if I'm an attorney or a paralegal and I'm submitting filings that involve payments, I can see my payments, but I don't see anybody else's payments in our firm, but the financial administrator does. Okay? So they're not administering so much as simply having access to information. You can have any number of people in your firm be in these administrative roles. You can have multiple company administrators, multiple filing administrators, multiple financial administrators. And just so you know, there are some implementations where we have firms make everybody in the firm a filing administrator. They just want everybody to have access to all the filings. There's a use case for that. So this is going to be one of the things you'll need to be giving some consideration to as you're setting up your firm and your users. Who do we want in these different administrative roles? Just so you know, you can change it at any time, right? You can remove administrative access from somebody. You can give somebody else who doesn't have it. You can give it to them. It's literally a couple of clicks and they've got it. Okay, so it's a very simple thing for the company administrator to do. So there are 2 other tabs here in my profile, email preferences and SMS text notifications. Let me explain what happens when you submit a filing through TurboCourt to the Connecticut probate courts. You will automatically and instantly begin receiving status updates and messages. Now I use certain terms synonymously, so messages, notifications, updates, I'm talking about all the same thing, okay? So you'll hear me use those terms. I'm talking about all the same thing. So when I submit my filing, I'm going to get a message, an update that says the court has received your filing. That's good to know because that means there was no technical issues with them receiving the documents I just sent. Then when they accept the filing, I'll get another message. I'll get another update. It'll say, we've accepted your filing. If I was initiating a case, here's your new case number, right? So you'll get these automatic updates. The court might post documents into the case, not as a result of you doing a particular filing, but just because there's other things going on in the case, and they start posting documents into the case, you're going to get notified of that, okay? If for some reason they decide that a bill needs to be sent to you, you've filed something and they've assessed some document recording fees as an example, they'll send you an invoice. They'll do that electronically now. You'll get notified of that. Right? So you've got all of these messages coming to you. And anytime you log into TurboCourt, you can see these incoming messages. I'll actually show you where to see those. But you will also receive them as in the form of email notifications, email status updates, notifications, and so forth. In your profile, the email preferences tab, which I'll click on right now, allows you to select what your preference is here. There are 3 options. The first 2 are yes, I'm going to receive email notifications. It's just a matter of how much information I want in the body of that email. The third option is no emails at all. We strongly discourage you going the third route, even though I know your inboxes are probably full, if they're anything like mine. Please do leave the email notification turned on. By default, as you see here, like I didn't change this, I just came here and it's already turned on for me. If you don't have email notifications turned on, there's going to be things that the court is telling you about that you're not going to be aware of unless you proactively log into TurboCourt and go and seek out that information, right? Seek out those messages. Because in almost every instance now, once e-filing goes live, the court is no longer sending you information by mail. They are not notifying you by mail anymore. They're doing everything electronically. So this is how you're going to be informed and notified by the court as to what's going on with your case. And if you turn email notifications off, you're at a real disadvantage. So I really encourage you to leave that turned on. As I said, you can come back to your profile at any time and change that setting. The text notifications tab is another one that is a preference. It's optional. But if you also want to be notified by text, you have that ability. And if you want that, you simply provide your mobile phone number here. When I click update, it's going to send my cell phone a code. There'll be a little field here for me to enter my code in. I'll enter it in, and voila, I now receive text notifications as well. If you decide to set up text notifications, you can pause them. If you're going on vacation for a couple of weeks, just come back to the screen. There'll be a little checkbox, pause text notifications, so that while you're enjoying yourself on some tropical island, you're not being notified about these cases. When you come back, uncheck the box and you continue your text notifications. If you decide after the fact, yeah, you know what, I really don't want to receive text notifications anymore, just come here and delete your phone number. It's very simple. Okay? So again, this is everybody's profile. So whether I'm just a user, whether I'm an administrator, an attorney, a paralegal, legal assistant, some other role in my firm, if you have a TurboCourt account, this is what your profile looks like. Okay? So back to my home page. Because I am the person who created my firm's account and I have become our first user, by default, I am given all three administrative roles. So I am a user like everybody else, but I am also the company administrator, the filing administrator, and the financial administrator. I have all access levels. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm now obligated to perform those functions, but I do have those access levels. And as I add more users, I can give other people those access levels as well. Because as I said, any number of people can be in those administrative roles. But that first user, the one that creates your firm's TurboCourt account, will always have those three administrative roles. You can't remove them because we need to guarantee that there's always going to be at least one person in your firm who has all three administrative access levels. Otherwise, you don't have access to the things you need access to. Okay? So let's talk about how the company administrator can manage your firm's information and users. So in my user menu, because I am a company administrator, I have another link called My Organization. So now if I'm just a user, if I'm not a company administrator, I will not see this link. When I click on My Organization, it shows me some information about our firm as well as our list of users. Right now, there's only me. There are two key buttons here. The first one I'll show you is the Edit Organization Information button. When I click on it, it shows how we registered. Again, I can change the firm name if I needed to. At this point, the address is required. Can somebody tell me the zip code for Fairfield? Oh, a little slower. Thank you. All right, so I put in my address. What I want to bring to your attention on the My Organization, Edit Organization area are these courtesy notification fields. There's two of them. There's a notifications inbox and a received e-service inbox. We highly encourage you to make use of these. Optional, but very, very helpful. So As anybody in your firm submits filings, they will be notified as to the status of that filing. Yes, the court has received it. Yes, the court has accepted it. Here's your new case number, whatever that happens to be. And as I said, it's my filing. I get to see those updates. The person sitting next to me isn't getting those updates. It's not their filing, right? By putting an email address into the notifications inbox, whatever email address you put here, this email will receive a copy of every single notification that the court sends to any of your filers across the entire firm. So whether it's the paralegals that are filing or the attorneys that are filing, and they themselves are getting their updates, but this particular email address that you put in the notifications inbox gets a copy of all of them, right? So if you've got a docketing clerk or just somebody that you want to have oversight of all of these incoming messages from the court, or if you're a solo practitioner and you've got a legal assistant, maybe you put your legal assistant's email address in here so that they are seeing all the activity that you're doing and can help you stay on top of it. Right? Again, there's a number of different ways you can make use of this field. You can use an existing person's email address here. You can create an entirely new email address. You can call it the Turbo Court Probate Incoming Messages email. Whatever you choose, okay? And you can also talk with your technical folks, because there are ways to have them have emails that are coming to this particular inbox distributed to more than one person, like automatically, like your email can do that. So there's no one and done recommendation as to how you should use this inbox, because every firm is different. But I would, like I said, really recommend taking a look at where this might be a benefit for you, who should have access to the copies of all of these notifications. Now, there's no documents in these notifications, just so you know. They're just notifications. The second box, the received e-service inbox, works the same way, but it is specifically for incoming e-service notifications. So I mentioned that e-service is coming to Connecticut probate courts January 1st. You may or may not decide to use it yourselves in serving documents to the parties on your cases, but very likely there will be others in the state that are using it, and you as attorneys, whoever here is an attorney, you may get e-served, which means you're no longer going to be getting a physical envelope. Instead, you're going to get an email, and in that email will be a link, and that link will take you to the documents that other party just filed on your case. You open up the documents, you can view them, you can print them, you can save them to your hard drive or your network drive, but you've been served those documents now. There's no more paper necessary, okay? So if I'm an attorney on a particular case and somebody files some documents in that case and they use e-service, that's how I'm going to be served. I'm going to receive that email notification. I'm the only one who receives that email notification because I'm the only one, let's say, in our firm who's working on that case. So the received e-service inbox, again, is where a copy of all of the incoming e-service notifications goes to for all of the attorneys in your firm, okay? So any attorney in your firm that gets e-served, a copy of that could go to whatever email address you put in the received e-service inbox, okay? Another important note here is you can choose to use the same email address if you want for both of these inboxes. It's up to you. Or you could use two separate email addresses. Okay, so that's managing your organization info. I'm going to go ahead and click Save since I added the address. And now I'm going to start adding some users. So I'm going to click the Add User Account button. Very simple. I'm providing their first and last name, their email address, a phone number, and that's pretty much it in terms of their contact information, their name, their email address, their phone number. And here is where I can indicate if I want to give this person any of the administrative access levels. Okay? So you can select any or all or any combination of these or none. It's perfectly fine to just have them be added as a user in none of these administrative roles. Okay? But you've got full flexibility here in terms of who's an administrator and what level of administrator access they've gotten. And like I said, at any point in time, you can come back to their profile here as the company administrator. You can come back here and change these choices, check or uncheck these boxes at any time. And it's instantaneous. If I check this box to make somebody a filing administrator, then all of a sudden the functionality of a filing administrator is immediately available to them. Okay, there's nothing more you need to do, other than perhaps direct them to the training video on what filing administrators can do. There's also the field for their juris number. If they're an attorney and you happen to know their juris number, feel free to put it in here, or they can do that themselves once they log in and they're managing their own profile. The only other thing you need to do here is to set up an initial password for them. And when I click the add button, the important note that appears at the bottom of this screen tells me that the system will automatically send this person an email letting them know that you've just set up a TurboPort user account for them within your firm. Their email address is their username. They go to turboport.com. However, for security purposes, this password that you initially set up for them is not included in that same email. We don't want everything all together in one email in case for some reason that email goes to somebody it should not have gone to. Okay? So they're going to get the email that says the user account's been set up, your username is your email, and give them the passwords separately, however you choose to do that, in a separate email or however you communicate with them. Okay? Once they receive that, they'll log in. They can go to their profile, they can update their password to whatever they want, right? Manage their preferences, and now they're on their own, taking care of their own profile. They can add their juris number if they've got one, etc. So I'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to leave this person as just a user in none of the administrative roles. And so there's Francis. And if at any point in time as the company administrator I need to make any changes, I just click on that person's name, and as I said, I can now make them a filing administrator. Okay? So that's the functionality of the company administrator, managing the company's info and those email inboxes, as well as managing users. Last thing I want to point out to you before we start creating filings is how to get support, technical support, and so forth. So again, top right row of buttons, there is a help button. When I click on the help button, it brings me to the support area. And within the support area, there is a contact us link. So when I click on that, I will see that there's an area dedicated for your Connecticut probate courts. When I click on that, it shows me the phone numbers and a link to request customer support, technical support. These are absolutely the most direct, fastest ways of requesting support. Okay? So that's clicking on the help button and then contact us. Also in this support area, you will see a link for videos and tutorials. So if you click on that, you'll see there are some general videos, such as having to do with registration and login and managing your profile, but you'll also see that there are videos specific to Connecticut. There are some here right now, but in the weeks ahead, we'll be adding quite a few more. So the link to the trainings that we're doing right now, for example, will be here. Okay, and there'll be other training videos that are topic specific for the Connecticut probate courts. So just come back here, it's the help button, videos and tutorials, and see what's there. If you need a refresher, right? How do I do e-service again? There'll be a video for that, or share it with colleagues, right? Okay, so with that done, let's move on to actually creating filings. So I'm going to log out as that brand new firm and new user, and instead I'm going to log in as somebody who's already has a TurboPort account, has been creating filings. Actually, I take that back. I'm going to log in as somebody who has a TurboPort account and is an attorney, but has not been creating filings yet. All right, so TurboCort and e-services communicate with one another. In order for you as an attorney to file electronically through the TurboPort system, we first need to verify you are who you say you are with e-services. This is a one-time only verification. Once you're verified, we will set a flag in TurboCort that says, yes, we know who this is, e-services has told us, and they are fine to proceed with whatever filings they need to do. Okay? So I'm going to walk you through that verification. It's very, very simple. Everybody that is an attorney will have to do this, and it's, like I said, one time only. So when you log in and you're on your home page, you've got your user menu on your left, right? You've got your buttons across the top here. And then to begin filing, you're looking at the center area here, and if it doesn't show Connecticut, then just click the Change Jurisdiction link and navigate to Connecticut, and then we'll remember your setting from that point forward. So it'll always return you to Connecticut. And as you see here, it says Probate Court e-filing, and I'll click on the link that says, click here to start. From the drop-down list of where to file will be a list of the probate courts. So select the one that you're needing to file into. So whether you're initiating a new case or whether you're filing into an existing case, tell us which court you're going to be filing into. I'll go ahead and select Northern Fairfield. The location is automatically selected for me. And then I simply click Next. So here are my four paths, if you will, a fork in the road to go in four different directions. The first one is I'm starting a new case in this court. Initiating. Okay. The second choice is I'm filing into an existing case. Terrific. Tell us the case number. We'll see what happens. The third choice is called I'm requesting e-filing access to the case. Now this third choice is really more applicable to paralegals and legal assistants, essentially anybody who's filing who is not an attorney. And I'll explain in more detail about this in just a little bit. But essentially, as attorneys, you're going to have access electronically now through TurboCort to all of your cases, closed, open, pending, all of the documents in those cases. You're going to be able to access all of that now through TurboCort. But the paralegals and legal assistants can't because they're not on record as being a party to the case. But what if you want your paralegal to have access to those case documents? Well, this third choice is a way for them to request access to the case documents. So it says request e-filing access, but really what that means is I need access to the case documents on a particular case number because I'm working with this attorney and he or she wants me to have that access. Okay, so I'll demonstrate that a little bit later on when we shift our focus to paralegals and legal assistants. And then the fourth choice is I'd like to pay an outstanding balance. And so as I mentioned, the court may from time to time send you an invoice. You'll receive it electronically. You'll be notified in TurboCort. You'll be sent an email about it. You'll be able to look at that invoice right through TurboCort, and then you'll be able to pay that invoice if you so choose, also through the system. So in this first scenario, I want to, for example, start a new case in this court. I'm an attorney. So I click the first option, I'm starting a new case. And you'll notice below there's a checkbox here that says, check here if you are an attorney. So if I'm a paralegal, obviously I wouldn't, but I am an attorney. So I'm going to go ahead and check that box. When I click next, TurboCort says, hold on, we don't know who you are yet. We need to verify you with these services. So that's a very simple process. Provide your juris number. I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. I'll click next, and when I do, we ask eServices to tell us who they have on file for that juris number. And so here it's showing Heather Dostler and her contact information. Now, if that's me, great. If I mistyped it and it's somebody else's juris number, go back, change the number. Because you won't be able to get verified. All right, so I put in my juris number. eServices tells TurboCourt, this is who we have on file for that juris number. Yes, that's me. Now, I provide my eServices email address. My eServices email address, the email address that you have on file with eServices. That may or may not be the same email address you're using for TurboCourt. It's okay either way. You can use the same email address for TurboCourt that you're using for eServices. You can choose to use a different email address in TurboCourt than you're using for eServices. Either way is fine. But to verify you with eServices, we need to know the email address that you've got on file with them, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and put in Heather's eServices email address. When I click next, we're going to ask eServices, is that the email address you've got on file? If it does, it will send this email, my eServices email address, an email for me to click on to verify that I am who I say I am. So that just happened. So let me go ahead and go back to my email. And we'll refresh. And there it is, Connecticut Probate Court eFiling verification. When I go to that email, there is a link that says verify my email address. When I click on it, once again, TurboCourt and eServices are communicating with one another. And once it gets verified, you'll see something like this. That's it. I am now verified by TurboCourt that eServices is who you say you are. So we set a flag, and from this point forward, you can proceed with any filings you need to do. So it's a one-time only verification, okay? So a quick note for those of you that are paralegals and legal assistants, you will be able to file on behalf of attorneys, initiating cases, filing into existing cases, paying bills to the court, whatever that happens to be. And because you're not an attorney, the extra step that you will take, which I will show you a little bit later on, is when you go to file, you'll indicate which attorney you're filing on behalf of, right? If that attorney has already been verified, we will know that, and we will simply let you proceed with creating and submitting the filing on their behalf. If, however, that attorney has not yet been verified, as you just saw, we will take you through that extra step to get them verified so that you can then proceed. And again, it's a one-time only verification. So if I click next, now that I've verified my juris number, TurboCourt's going to set that flag and allow you to proceed with whatever it is you're filing. In this situation, I was saying I wanted to initiate a new case, but whatever it was I was filing, I can proceed now. The other thing that happens when you verify your juris number is that you will immediately be sent a list of all of your open cases and your closed cases, and basically all of your cases. It comes to TurboCourt messages area. I'll show you that in just a moment. So as I mentioned, you're going to get all sorts of notifications, not just status updates as to what's going on with your filing, but other messages that are going to be sent to you by the court. And this is one of them. Great, you've been verified. Here's a list of all of the cases that we have on you. Okay? You'll also receive that by email, assuming you've got email turned on. So I'm going to click on my home button right now. I'm not going to proceed with that particular filing. And what I'm going to do is show you in your user menu this area that says messages, this link that says messages. This is your messages area. This is all of these incoming messages and notifications that are coming to you from the court. And it will tell you the number of unread messages you have. So this says I've got 4 unread messages. You'll also see that right here front and center. You have new messages, 4 of them. We do that because even though you've got the messages link in the user menu, you might miss it. And so the moment you log in, if you've got any new messages that you haven't seen yet, it's going to be right there front and center for you to see that. Now, when you choose to look at them is up to you, of course, but we want to bring that alert right to your attention. So I could click, for example, on that number 4. It'll show me all the messages I have. 4 of these I haven't read yet. And sure enough, that most recent one, you are listed as an active party on the following cases, and then my list of cases. Now, you may have a much longer list of cases, but whatever it is, this is going to be your list. And if you are sent that email, because if you have email notifications turned on, you'll have the list of cases in the email as well. Okay? And then I can go ahead and mark that as being read. And I'll just return home. Okay. There's other functionality that for you attorneys is really helpful. I mentioned it a little bit earlier on, and that is the ability to now have access to all of your cases and all of the case documents. So now that you've been verified, not only do you get this list of your cases, but you can actually access them directly through TurboCourt. And in your user menu, there is another item called My Cases. Now, just a very quick note, the My Cases functionality will not be live on January 1st. It's expected to be sometime in the first half of January. Don't have an exact date yet. So if you log in January 1st, January 2nd, you probably, even though you're an attorney, you probably will not see the My Cases link yet, but within a couple of weeks, it'll just automatically appear for you. Okay? So if I click on the My Cases link, I have two options. Do I want to look at my non-confidential cases or my confidential cases? If I select non-confidential cases, I'll click next. It'll just show me the list of all of my cases, and I can click on them. I'll show you that in just a moment. But if I want access to my confidential cases, if I happen to have any, this is where Connecticut Probate Courts has asked us to do another level of security, because it's so easy and convenient to access confidential information this way that they want to verify you one more time. Basically any time you're trying to access confidential cases this way, they're going to ask you to verify yourself again, just in case for some reason somebody somehow got into your user account. So if I click on continue, it's going to say, okay, we've got your email address, maybe we've got your cell phone number, choose which one, we'll send you a code, enter the code, and then you're good to go, and you can look at your confidential cases. Okay, and you'll have to do this each time you're wanting to look at your confidential cases. So if I do this today, great, but if I go tomorrow, I want to look at confidential cases again, I'll do this quick verification again. Right? They're very protective about this information. But let's just say either I don't have any confidential cases, or at the moment, I'm just needing to look at my non-confidential cases. So I check that box, I click continue, and once again, we're now talking with the courts, and we're actually not in TurboCourt at this moment. We are now at the court site, if you will, looking at your cases. So if there are many cases, then there'll be multiple pages here. And as you can see, there are links. And so I can click on any of these case numbers, and I can see all of the documents. Now this one looks like there's 3 pages worth of documents. But right now I'm actually only looking at 10 documents per page. I can change that to list, if I want to do up to 100 documents per screen, however you'd like to do that. And you'll be able to click on these documents, if it's a clickable link, and open them, view them, print them, save them to your drive, whatever it is you need to do with them. All of the case documents are now accessible to you right through the TurboCourt system. There's also a Parties tab, and it'll show you names and contact information, whatever the court has for the parties on this case. And back to the Documents link, if there are documents that are sealed or confidential or in some other way offline and not available, you'll see the document as part of the case, but it will not be a clickable link. Okay? But hopefully most of those will be accessible to you. And then when you're ready to go back to TurboCourt, you just click Return to TurboCourt, and it just brings you right back to where you were. Okay? So let's go ahead and start creating some filings. And in this first scenario, I want to show you an initiating filing. So I'm going to log in as a different attorney. And this is an attorney who's been verified. They've been doing all sorts of filings. You can see this table here at the top center of this person's home page. It says your last 5 filings. Now this person has lots of filings, I'll just let you know. But what we do is we show you the 5 most recent you've been working on. We figure those are hot, right? You've been working on them, you may still be working on them, preparing documents to attach, things like that. And so rather than having you go and find the one you want, we just show you your 5 most recent, thinking that there's a good chance you're probably going to be needing access to them right away. But of course, you can access any of your filings. I'll show you that also a little bit later on, how to very quickly find any of your filings. Okay, so to begin a case, or I should say, to begin a filing, as you just saw, I'm going to click here to start. I'm going to indicate which of the courts I'm wanting to file into. I click next. Once again, it shows me who I am, and don't we all want to know who we are? My 4 choices, I'm starting a new case. Notice, however, that the checkbox of click here if you are an attorney is no longer on this screen. Why is that? Because TurboCourt already knows I'm an attorney. I've already been verified. So it's simply going to skip that. So please proceed. We know who you are. So I'll click next, and it will take me to the beginning of the process to create the filing. Anytime you're creating a filing for TurboCourt, whether you're initiating a new case or simply filing documents into an existing case, it's a simple 3-step process, and you'll go through this same process each time. Step 1, you answer a couple of questions to help the court understand what it is you're filing. Step 2, you attach your documents. Step 3, you electronically submit everything. And if there's a payment required, you'll make your payment at that time. Okay? Answer a couple questions, attach your documents, electronically submit. So this is the beginning of that step 1, answer a few questions. And it's really just sort of a guided process. TurboCourt knows all of the requirements that the Connecticut Probate Court has in all of these different filing scenarios. And so the general rule of thumb is whatever it is you're filing, just follow along with what's presented to you on screen, and you shouldn't go wrong. Sometimes you'll see a question, sometimes you won't see another question. It just depends on what you're filing. We know what the court needs, and we have it set up to produce what I like to call clean filings, to eliminate or significantly reduce any reason why the court might reject your filing, right? Something's missing or whatever that might be. Okay, so rule of thumb, just follow along with what's presented to you on screen for your filing scenario. So I'm going to go ahead and click next. And the first thing it's showing me is the case categories. You'll see a substantial list here of case categories. I'll go ahead and select conservatorship. I click next. TurboCourt says, oh, we know that since you're initiating a case, you're going to need to file an appearance document. So we're just telling you that up front, and we will establish a placeholder when you finish answering these questions that gives you a spot to put that appearance document, for you to upload your appearance document, so that you don't forget to include it. Okay? In fact, you won't be able to submit this filing without this appearance document. Okay, thanks for letting me know. Okay, first document, what is it you want to file? Now, I can file one or many documents. Okay? What you're going to see in this list of documents is a very long list of possible documents in this situation. Maybe I don't remember the exact name of that document. It's some sort of a petition. My memory isn't as good as it used to be. So I'm going to use the search box here at the top to help narrow down this long list of documents. So if I type the letter P, it says it found 60 documents, PE, 32 documents, PET, 26 documents. Okay, that's getting close. Let's find the one I want. And there it is. It's the PC 300 petition for involuntary appointment of a conservator. Now, notice that because I selected this particular document, we know that the Connecticut Probate Court also wants you to file a PC 300 CI confidential information document. So we will establish a placeholder for that one as well for you. All right? So again, these aren't Turbo Court rules. These are Connecticut Probate directives. Great. So thanks for letting me know. I'll make sure to get that one prepared. When I click next, I'm essentially done. I've answered the questions. But oops, there was another document I wanted to attach. I forgot. Okay. You can click review, edit your answers at any time. It'll take me back into that short little interview where I answered a couple of questions. And it'll allow me to change or add anything. So I'm just going to jump right into that final section. And so there's my document one, and I want to check the box at the bottom here that says, oh no, I've got another document I want to add. And so when I check that box, it says, okay, what's your second document? And for this, I'm going to file the physician's evaluation. I click next. It regenerates everything for step 2, which is to attach my documents. And so here are my placeholders. There's my PC 183 for my appearance, the PC 300 that I selected, the 300 CI confidential information that apparently the court also wants, and the 370 physician's evaluation that I said I wanted to attach. So those are the 4 documents in this particular filing that I'll be attaching. But before I do that, let's just go up to the top here, and let's take a look at the envelope, if you will, of this particular filing. Now, we give each of these filings a number, and we in TurboCourt refer to these as form sets. So these, again, are terms that are synonymous. So a form set, a filing, a form set filing, that's all one and the same thing. So you're going to hear me say those terms in different ways. I'm talking about the exact same thing. So it's a set of documents that are going to be filed. So for now, I'll call it a form set filing. And each of these form set filings is given a unique number across all of TurboCourt, with TurboCourts across the country. This is your unique number right now for this one particular form set filing. It's not a case number, of course, but it is a tracking number for you. If there are any filing fees or other fees that the court has determined are required, we will display them to you here because this is what we'll be paying now as part of this filing submission. The status of this particular form set filing, you can see here, and it's currently called completed. Now, there are many statuses in TurboCourt. If you were to click on this information icon next to that status label, you'll see a long list of statuses and their descriptions, but really there's essentially 4 that you most want to concern yourself with. Most of them are not relevant or pertinent to you at all. So the 4 statuses that you want to be aware of for your filings in TurboCourt are completed, which is where we are right now, which essentially says I finished answering the questions. I finished setting up what this filing is about, okay? The next is delivered. So I'm going to attach my documents and then electronically submit everything. Once the court receives that, the status goes from completed to delivered. Then the court's going to process that filing, accept your filing, and it will then move from delivered to e-filed. That's what you're looking for, right? So from completed to delivered to e-filed. Now, if for any reason the court does find a reason to reject the filing, they would, then it would go from delivered to rejected, and then you'd have to tend to that, okay? But more often than not, you're looking at from completed to delivered to e-filed. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about and show you the different ways of attaching your documents. So you may have, for example, in this first document, the appearance, you may have already prepared this. You've got it on your computer, and you just need to upload it, okay? So for that, I'm just going to simply click the attach link that's next to that placeholder. We already know what kind of a document it is. It's the appearance. We've already filled in the title description for you, but you're welcome to rename that or add to it or change it however you like. And then I'm simply going to choose my file to upload. Please note that for the Connecticut probate courts, the only file type that they will accept electronically is a PDF. Okay? So if you've got a Word document, you'll convert it to PDF. If you've got a physical document with wet signatures on it and you go to scan it as a PDF. Okay? Because other document types they will not consume. So if you happen to have a Word document, you cannot simply rename it .pdf. That does not work. And TurboCourt will stop you. And the reason we will stop you is because if we let that go through, the court's going to reject your filing. And as I said, we're doing everything we can up front to alleviate that possibility. So just fair warning. So I'm going to go ahead and I did, in fact, prepare my appearance document already. So I'm simply going to find it. There it is. And when I click Save, TurboCourt will analyze it and make sure that it is, in fact, a valid PDF. And so there is my appearance document. Now, I have a couple of other links here. I've got the View link. So I could click the View link and open this document that I just attached to make sure I actually attached the right one. Right? Double check. You may want to do that. If you do need to change anything, you can click the link that now says Edit. Once I've attached it, it goes from Attach to Edit. And so if I click the Edit link, it simply brings me back to that exact same screen. Again, I can change that title or description, or I can replace the file that I previously attached. So if I realize, no, I attached the wrong one, simply choose a different file. We'll simply remove the one you previously attached and replace it with this new one. Okay? And then there is a third link here for this document, which is the Remove link. So let's imagine that you've prepared a document and you've attached it. You click the View link and you realize, oh no, I forgot to make those changes. I haven't really finished my changes. That's not the right one. And the document that you need to replace it with isn't ready yet. You, in fact, have more work to do on it before it's ready to be uploaded. Pro tip, click the Remove button and don't leave the bad document in here. Because in your very busy day, you're very likely going to forget that you haven't yet replaced it. And then you're going to submit this filing with the wrong document and have the hassle of having to deal with that. So if you have attached a document and you realize you need to change it, but you don't have the new version ready, just click Remove, because you're not going to be able to submit this filing with a missing document, right? So again, we're trying to protect you in all the ways we could think of. All right, so you're welcome to prepare your own documents, upload them. If you have documents that require wet signatures, right? So you're going to scan them and then upload them. That's very typical, right? But if you want to do it all electronically, you can do that now, even electronic signatures, because as of January 1st, rules around electronic signatures are going into effect, and they're fairly, as I understand it, fairly broad definition. Heather can probably speak to that at the end during Q&A. But you can do electronic signatures now if you want to. So let me just show you one of the ways you can do that. Okay? You don't have to do this, but I just want to let you know that it's available to you. So what you're going to see here is that for each of these documents that are listed, there's also a link from the Connecticut Probate Court site with that document. It's a PDF. In fact, it's a fillable PDF. And so if I were to click on this PC300 link, once again, we're now pulling the document from the Connecticut court site, probate court site. And this is, do that again. This is a fillable document. I can fill this out this way. So I want to do that. I want to fill this out in this fashion, and I want to use digital signatures. I don't want to go through getting a wet signature and then scanning it and uploading it. Okay. So here's how I can do that. I'm going to simply download this particular fillable PDF to my hard drive, to my network drive, wherever I store my files. So I click the download button, and there's the PC300. I already have it here, but I'll just go ahead and replace it. Okay, go ahead and close that. Go to my drive where I just downloaded that file, the PC300. Now, there's a lot of different products out there that can read PDF files. Obviously, Adobe Acrobat is probably the one you're most familiar with. There are others. But there's a particular version of Adobe Acrobat that I want to bring to your attention. It's called Adobe Acrobat Reader DC. There's no cost for this software. It's free. So I highly recommend you grab it. Just go to the internet, type in Acrobat Reader DC, you'll get a link, you can install it on your computer. It gives you extra functionality with PDFs that you don't get with the standard Adobe Reader, which is primarily just reading PDFs. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up with my DC, my Reader DC software. Okay, so there is my fillable PDF, but what you're going to notice on the right side of the screen is that there's other capabilities that you don't typically get with a PDF document. So let's just imagine and pretend that I am filling this one out. Et cetera, et cetera. I'm filling out the fields. By the way, just so you know, where it says in the matter of James Wilson at the top here, once I put that person's name in, this fillable PDF will put that person's name at the top of every page. It's just a really efficient way of doing things. Okay, so let's imagine that I've finished filling out everything I need to fill out, and now it's time for signatures. Now, depending on the nature of the document, sometimes the signature can be yours, the attorney. Often it's not, right? It could be the petitioner or somebody else that you're needing a wet signature from. So let me show you what this DC version of Adobe Acrobat gives you. On the right-hand side, you'll see a button called Fill and Sign. When I click on that, it asks who needs to sign. Do you need to sign, meaning me, the person who's doing this, or do you need others to sign? If you need others to sign, you can invite them to electronically sign these documents. You may have electronically signed documents in the past, I don't know, but what you basically do is you establish where in this document, and it may be multiple places where you need their signature or initials. You say, I need their signature here and on the bottom of page 5. And this is the name of the person whose signature I need. You send them an email with a link, they open it up, they simply type their name, that's all they do. And voila, their signature electronically is automatically placed exactly where you need it. Okay? That's how that works. It's very cool. I'm not going to demonstrate all of that right now, but I will demonstrate the electronic signature as though I'm signing it, just so you can see. The caveat to all of this is that when it's you who is signing, there's no cost. But when you're going to invite other people to sign, Adobe does charge you for that. I do not know what they charge, but I would say check it out and look in to see if it's cost worth taking on versus the time it takes to get wet signatures and all of that. So let's just say I have to sign this. I'll click Fill and Sign here. I'll click the Sign button that appears now at the top. Let's remove my previous signature. Pretend I never did that. So I can add signature. I can add initials, right? Sometimes documents need to be initialized. So I'm going to go ahead and add my signature. And the simplest way to do that is to simply type my name. I'll click Apply because I'm the one who's signing it. And so there is my signature floating around as I move my mouse, and I'm just going to say where on the document I want it. Now again, if you're inviting other people to sign electronically, they don't do that. You're going to tell the software, this is where I want Stephen's signature. He types his name and it'll just automatically appear on that line. And if you need multiple people to sign, you can do that. So I need Stephen to sign here. I need Betty to sign there, whatever it happens to be. Okay? So now I'm going to save my signed version of this document. So I'll just do a standard save as. And there we go. I've got now my fully filled out and signed document, and now I'm ready to attach it. So it's an option for you. You can still do wet signatures and scan them as PDFs. But if you want to explore this possibility, this option, it's very convenient. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and quickly attach these other two documents so that we can then proceed with the next step. So this is going to be my confidential information document for the PC 300, and then the physician's evaluation. Okay, I've answered a couple of questions. I've attached my documents. Normally it would be faster, you wouldn't have somebody talking about all these what-if scenarios, right? Before we proceed with that final step of electronically submitting everything and making my payment, I want to bring to your attention some other functionality associated with these form set filings. At the top here, you'll notice a row of buttons, these toolbar buttons. And there's two in particular that I want to bring your attention to right now. The first two, notifications and add keyword matter number. If I click on the notifications button, there's two areas here, email preferences and courtesy notifications. Email preferences is simply showing you your current default setting in your profile as to whether or not you're receiving email notifications. Hopefully all of you already have email notifications turned on, so there's really nothing to do here. But just so you understand what this is all about, is if you were somebody who said, yeah, really, I don't want any more email, and I really will log into TurboPort all the time and see what the court is sending to me, like I said, you can do that. That's okay. We just don't recommend it. So if that was your profile setting, no emails at all, we'll show that to you. And let's just say this is Friday afternoon. You're initiating a new case. It's a brand new client, and you're about to go on vacation. You really are not going to be logging into TurboPort. So for this one filing, override my profile setting and do send me email notifications about this one filing. So that's what this functionality allows you to do. As I said, hopefully that's really not an issue for you and there's nothing more for you to do there. But the courtesy notifications area is very helpful because you can have other people receive notifications about this one filing. So you're the filer, you're going to be getting notified. If at the company level, the company administrator put an email address in that notifications inbox, then whoever that is, they get a copy of everybody's notifications, right? But what if you want somebody else to receive notifications about this particular filing because you are about to go on vacation? Put your paralegal's email address in here, co-counsel, your boss, maybe the client's email address. Put anybody you want, really, right? They'll just get status updates as to this one filing, right? What's going on with it. So if it's a particularly critical filing, you may want to do that, okay? It's optional. And you can put multiple email addresses in this one, okay? So in the company-wide one, it's one email address. But when it's per form set filing, as we're looking at right now, you can put as many email addresses in here as you'd like. If you do, just separate them with a comma. And then whatever changes you make, just click save. So that is the notifications button for this form set filing. There's also an add keyword matter number button. You'll see there's an add keyword, excuse me, a keyword matter number field here. It's currently blank. When I click on that button, it brings up a field where I can type in anything I want, alphanumeric, special characters, multiple words. Highly recommend you use this. You use it for tracking purposes. This has nothing to do with the courts at all. This has to do with your own internal tracking of your clients, of your cases, of the work that you're doing. So if you use a client ID system, put your client's ID associated with each of the filings you're doing on their behalf. Because then you can do a search later on that says, show me all the filings I did on behalf of this particular client in the last few months, or in all of 2018, or all of 2019, right? And especially if you're a firm with multiple attorneys, come up with a coordinated way of using the keyword matter number field, especially if you've got lots of people filing on the same case. You've got an attorney and the legal assistants filing on it. If you all use the same system for coding these, then it doesn't matter who does the filing. Somebody, the filing administrator, is going to be able to find all the filings for that particular client number, right? Or maybe you use a case tracking system, right? So you can use it any way you want. So I'm going to imagine that this is for my client A-23456, but I could add more words here. I could put in special characters, whatever it is that you need and use. And then click Save. And now this form set filing has a keyword matter number associated with it. And we can use it for searching and tracking. Okay? It doesn't matter when you do this. Maybe you forgot to do it and you've already submitted the filing to the court. Oh my God. It's okay, because it has nothing to do with the court. You can come back and do this at any time. Add the keyword matter number anytime you want. Change the keyword matter number. Edit it if you need to. If you mistyped it, it's not a problem. Okay? So let's go ahead and submit this filing. You'll see the submit button, and because there is a fee required, we're going to take you to the payment processor that the Connecticut probate courts are using, and it's LexisNexis. And so now we are communicating live with LexisNexis. Now this is their testing environment as well, but it's very similar to what you're going to encounter when you're doing your filings and you're needing to make a payment. So in the LexisNexis screen, say that 10 times fast, you're going to need to confirm your email. They need you to do that. You're going to need to put in your phone number. And then you've got 3 different payment options: credit card, personal check, or business check. So if you selected one of the check options, you'd be putting in the routing number, the bank account number, okay, the business phone number. Okay. And I believe that gets processed as an ACH transaction. For a credit card, you put in the credit card information. Okay. And I'm actually going to do that right now. And no, that's not my credit card number. LexisNexis gives you the ability to save that payment information with their system if you want to, so you don't have to keep entering it each time. I'm going to uncheck that box. I believe by default it's checked. Either way, I'm going to have it unchecked. And they also use CAPTCHA to make sure you're not a computer bot of some sort. If I've entered everything correctly, it will let me continue. There we go. The final OK screen where I check the box saying I'm ready to make this payment. Okay? Assuming the payment goes through well, you'll get a receipt, and then from there, from that receipt, you can go back to TurboCourt. Very important note, when you're going through this process for a filing fee, for example, this is a pre-authorization only. So whether you're doing a credit card or a check, the money is not being taken at this point. It's pre-authorized. Once the court accepts your filing and it goes from delivered to e-filed, then the money is actually taken from whatever account you've selected. Okay, so this is pre-authorization only. I'm going to click Pay Now. Hopefully everything's good. Great. So there we go. I'm at the receipt now. And what you're going to see on the LexisNexis receipt at the bottom is a sentence that says, click on this link to return to the TurboCourt website. Doesn't look like a link, but it is. So just click on that sentence. And when you do, we'll return you to TurboCourt. And sure enough, my status is now delivered. Congratulations, you've just successfully filed an initiating set of documents into the probate court, made your payment. Now, just a quick note also, sometimes there is a short delay in LexisNexis telling TurboCourt that everything is fine. And so when you come back to this screen, it might still say completed, or it may say filing pending or something like that. Just wait a few moments, refresh your screen, and it'll say delivered. Okay? So it's just a waiting from LexisNexis sometimes. So from this screen where it tells me my payment's been processed, it says to see your filing, click here, I'll do that. And now I'm back in my filing. The status is delivered. And I see that in addition to this filing details area where my forms are, I have two other tabs. There's a messages tab. Let me click on that. Now this is messages just for this one form set filing. So thank you for submitting your documents. Let me click on that. Okay, great. So I know they've received it. There's no technical problem with them having received these documents. And I'll go ahead and mark that as being read. And your payments tab. So I can click on that. And from within TurboCourt, it's showing me the transaction number from LexisNexis, the dollar amount. I can click on the payment details. And it's going to show me my form set number, no case number yet, right? Because it's an initiating case, we haven't gotten it. What it's all about, the transaction number again, payment status is pending, it's pre-authorized, hasn't actually been accepted yet. And the corresponding fees. If I want, I can print this, so I have a hard copy of this receipt. I can save it. I can, instead of printing it, I can just save it to my drive, so I have a digital copy. Okay, so that's available to me. And back to my filing details. So that's it. I'm simply waiting for the court to accept this filing, and then it will change from delivered to e-filed. So let's take a quick look at what that looks like once the court has accepted your filing. So here's a very similar filing that I created, same 4 documents, okay? And you'll notice the status of this particular filing is e-filed, meaning the court has in fact accepted it already. So let's take a look again at that messages link, and you'll see that there are more messages that are coming to me now about this particular form set filing. It says your documents have been e-filed, and whatever else it says. There's now a case number where there wasn't one before. If I click on your payments, it shows the payment status went from pending, pre-authorization, to paid. They've now taken the money. And back on that filing details screen, where we have these different toolbar buttons, I want to bring to your attention a new toolbar button that wasn't actually there before. And it's the one on the far right called View Court Case Documents. This button appears when you're looking at a form set whose status is e-filed. So when this particular form set filing was still in status, let's say delivered, this button was not there. But the moment the court accepts it and it goes to e-filed, this button automatically appears, and when I click on it, it will take me to all of the case documents for that particular case. Now, this isn't particularly interesting, it's just my 4 documents, I'm the one who initiated the case. But let's say you were filing into an existing case, right, just a new report or something, and it's an e-filed filing. When I click on View Court Case Documents, I'm going to get access to all of those case documents. Now, I showed you earlier that as attorneys, you can always go to My Cases, right, in the user menu, and access any of your cases in any of the case documents, right? But this is another way for you to access case documents. If you happen to be in a filing on a case and its status is e-filed, you don't have to go to My Cases, just click on View Court Case Documents, and now you've got access in the same way to all of those case documents on that case. And this is particularly useful for paralegals and legal assistants who do not have the My Cases access. I'll explain that in a little while. Okay, so just kind of put a pin in that one for the view court case documents for the paralegals. Now let's file into an existing case and also use eService. And I'll just say up front, I'm a bit of a geek. I get really excited about eService. I think it's really great. All right, so I want to file some documents into an existing case. It's the same procedure, that 1, 2, 3, answer some questions, attach some documents, electronically submit everything. The difference being is I need to tell the court what case I'm filing into, right? So click here to start. Select the court I want to file into. But instead of selecting the first choice, I'm going to select that I'm filing into an existing case. And now I'm going to go ahead and put in my case number. Now, if it turns out you enter a number that is not a valid case number, we will, of course, stop you and say eServices, or the court, I should say, doesn't have this case number, right? So try again, basically. I click Next. It's letting me proceed right away because, like I said, I've already been verified, so there's no issue there. And I'm going to go ahead and create my, what I like to call a subsequent filing, into an existing case. Okay. All right. So it brings me from the court for that case number the name of the case, basically the party for whom this is about. I click Next. Okay. Conservatorship. Okay. I'm filing into this case. I may or may not have filed before, so there are 3 options here. 1, I've already filed an appearance in this matter, or maybe I was appointed by the court in this matter, in which case I also don't have to file an appearance. The third is, this is actually my first time that I'm going to be filing in this case, so I will file an appearance with this filing, and then go ahead and attach your appearance. But I'm going to say that, nope, I've already filed. And so, as you saw before, tell us what it is you want to file. And for this one, I really just need to file a conservator's report. Okay. Click Next. That's it. I'm done. It was a couple of clicks. There's the placeholder for my 1 document. Let's go ahead and attach it because I've already prepared it. Notice that in this filing scenario, at least at this moment, there are no fees that are being assessed, so there's not going to be any payment. So that's it. I'm done. I'm going to click Submit. It shows filing pending. Let me just quickly refresh. There you go. It's been delivered to the court. And this is a lot of what you'll be doing, filing into existing cases, right? Put the case number in. Here's the document or documents I'm wanting to file. Attach them. Click Submit. You're done. Okay? Oh, I said that I've already filed an appearance, so it didn't require one. Yeah. Okay. So, that's filing into an existing case. So it's just a matter, again, of what it is you're filing. And if there are any other requirements or fees, then, like I said, follow along on screen with what's presented to you, and you shouldn't go wrong. So now, I'm going to do that again, exact same thing, but this time, instead of just electronically filing, I'm going to file, but I'm also going to use eService, right? Because I don't want to have to physically make copies and put them in envelopes and address them or get somebody else to do that, whatever that effort is to serve all the parties. I just don't want to do that anymore. So I'm going to use eService. All right. So this is me just creating another filing. Got another report to file. Okay, so everything that we just saw, what I want to bring your attention to now is the upper left side, upper left corner here. File electronically, that's what we've been doing all along. But when you are filing into an existing case, you have another choice, and that's eFile and eServe. I'll go ahead and click on that choice. And so instead of having a submit button, there's one extra step that I'll go through for eService. I'll click next. And what's going to happen is I need to tell the system who is going to be eServed. Okay? So we know from the court all the parties that are on this case. They've told us who all the parties are that we're aware of, that they're aware of. Anybody who is a party to the case that TurboCourt already is aware of, we have their email address. So we pre-populate all of their names and their email addresses for you. Here's what's going to happen when you do eService. When I submit this filing and it goes from status completed to delivered, anybody that is in this eService recipient list via email will be immediately emailed. In that email will be a link to the document or documents you just filed. They can open that and view your documents. They have been served. You have met your obligation for service. We can track that that email was received by them. We have a report that you have that will be immediately filed with the court. You don't even have to do anything. That says, I have proof of service. These are the folks that I just e-served. There's literally nothing more you need to do. I'll actually show you a little bit of how this works. There will be times when there are parties in the case that we know about, because the court has told us, but TurboCourt does not yet have their email address. And if you want to e-serve them, you'll see them in this second list here. And this is where you would type in their email address. Okay? You only have to do this one time. TurboCourt is going to remember this for you for any other filing on this case number. So next week when I go to file something else, all the eService recipients, they're already there and filled out for me, which is why when I just came to this screen, all of these emails were already filled out because I already have e-served on this case. Right? So I just do it once, and I only have to do it for the ones that TurboCourt doesn't have the email addresses for. And it's not just saved for you, it's saved for everybody in your firm that files on this case. If you've got multiple attorneys filing on the case, or you've got some paralegals and legal assistants that are filing on this case, it is a shared eService recipient list. TurboCourt says, oh, for that case number, we know all the people that need to be e-served. And it doesn't matter who in your firm is doing the filing. Okay? I'm also pointing this out to you because, as I said, even if you choose not to use this, chances are there are going to be others that do choose to use it where they're going to be e-serving you. So you're going to be the one receiving that email with the link, the documents that they just filed, which you could then print or save to your drive. Okay? And if you need to add more people here, so to this additional eService recipients table, I'll just click Add New Recipient manually. Put in their name and their email address. The roles and comments column is optional. If you want to identify who this person is, you can, but that's just for your own internal tracking purposes. If I add this person manually like this, TurboCourt will save it. I won't have to remember to add them next week when I file more things. I won't have to remember to tell my legal assistant, oh, by the way, don't forget to e-serve Jane. It's going to be there for her when she goes to file on this same case. So now when I click submit, refresh my screen, it's been delivered, and all of those folks were just sent an email. So I have an e-service tab now, because this particular filing I used e-service on. When I click on that e-service tab, it will show me everybody that just got sent an email. It shows me the date and time it was sent. The status for all of these is called pending, meaning they haven't yet opened the email, and that's okay. But if they do open that email, this particular status will change from pending to accepted. And it'll even show you the date and time that they opened that email. That is not your concern. They do not have to open that email. You've met your obligation for service. When you serve in paper, in an envelope, you have proof that you handed them the envelope. What they do with that envelope is not your concern. You've met your obligation. You've met your obligation now by having proof that you sent this email and they received it. The fact that it shows the request sent date and time is our technical way of knowing that their email server actually received that email and it's in their email box. Now again, whether they open it or not is up to them. So what I want to show you is in your list of documents, for this particular filing, all I filed was the conservator's report, and yet there's a new document there. TurboCourt generated this for you automatically and sent it to the court for you automatically. This is your certificate of mailing. Let me just make that a little larger for everybody. So we've got what was sent, whether it was one document or several documents, and all the folks that were just served. That just happened behind the scenes automatically for you. It's really nice. You should take a look at it. What's that? There are certain documents, and this will be a question for Heather, so let's hold that till the end. Yeah, because there are certain documents that have to be handled differently. You know, I think I put myself as one of the recipients of that. Let me go to my email and show you. Perhaps not. Oh, yep, there it is. Great. So, I just e-served myself. You wouldn't normally do that. Imagine you got e-served. You'll see this email that says TurboCourt e-service notification. When you click on it, it will tell you the case number and the case name the court was filed into, and it will show you the documents that were just filed, that you just got e-served. So now I can click on these document links and open up all of those documents. And like I said, print them or save them to my hard drive. And this is the same thing that the folks that you e-serve, this is what they'll receive. An email with the links to the documents you just filed. But again, whether or not I or they open the email is nobody's concern. We've got proof, we've served it, I've met my obligation. Okay. Let's switch gears and focus on your paralegals and legal assistants. We're gonna hold questions till the end. Really do need to hold questions to the end, thanks. Appreciate that. Okay, so as we've been talking about, paralegals, legal assistants, really whoever you're having working with you as an attorney, they can file on your behalf. So I've just logged in as someone who is a paralegal or a legal assistant. And as you can see, they've been creating and submitting filings. So I want to walk through a few different scenarios for the paralegals and the legal assistants so you all can see how this works. The first scenario is you can have the paralegal be the one to file the initiating documents to start a new case. That's fine. So they're going to go through, as I said, almost the identical procedure that we've seen all along, with the additional step of which is the attorney on whose behalf they're filing. Okay, so they're logged in, they click here to start, they indicate where they're going to be filing. I'm starting a new case. The checkbox is back. Check here if you are an attorney, right? Because they're not a verified attorney, so we show this checkbox again. They're not going to check the box because they themselves are not an attorney. So what happens as a result of that, when I click next, is we will show you the list of all of the registered TurboCourt users in your firm. Some of these are attorneys who are already verified. Some of these are attorneys who have not yet been verified. There may be other folks in here like paralegals and legal assistants or other folks that are in this list. Because TurboCourt, there's no way for TurboCourt to know exactly who each person is. So we just show you all the folks that are registered for your firm. I'll select Evan. He happens to be, I know he's the attorney I'm working with. I also happen to know he's already been verified. Right? So I'm filing whatever it is that I'm filing on behalf of Evan, who's a verified attorney. When I click next, TurboCourt checks everything out, and if everything is good, it should be, it will let the paralegal proceed with this filing. There you go. Please proceed. What is it you want to file? Attach your documents, submit everything, make a payment if one is required. It's the exact same procedure, right? The difference being is they're going to indicate which attorney they're filing on behalf of. Now, let's rewind that tape. And let's say they select one of the attorneys that's registered with your firm who has not yet used TurboCourt and who has not yet gotten through that one-time verification process. It's still okay, but there will be an extra step to get them verified. So I'll select Beverly. TurboCourt says, wait a minute, we don't have this person verified yet. Please give us this attorney's juris number. So paralegal provides the juris number. They'll click next. And then as you saw before, it'll ask for their eServices email address. So we'll provide that attorney's eServices email address and we'll click next. The key here is that that email goes to the attorney, right? It's their email. So the attorney gets the email and the attorney has to click, yes, I am who I say I am, and click the verify link. So paralegals don't do this when the attorney's not around. It won't work. So you'll coordinate this with them, right? Come back after lunch, they want you to file something, you know they've never filed before. It's like, well, we're going to go through this one-time verification. So I'm going to do this. You're going to get an email. Please click on the email. So here I am. I'm the paralegal. I've just done that. I tell the attorney, go ahead and click on the email. Attorney says, okay, great. I clicked on it, and now I just click next. I can just stay here and wait and click next. And TurboCourt says, okay, they're verified now. You can proceed. And again, I only do that once for that attorney, because once I've done that, TurboCourt knows they're good to go from that point forward. The other benefit, of course, is that attorney also, as a result of having gotten verified just then, got sent their list of all of their cases, right? And now they've got the My Cases functionality to access it all electronically, okay? So the other scenario, I'm gonna rewind the tape one more time, was the situation where you want your paralegal legal assistant to have access to the case documents that you're working on, right? But they're not an attorney, so they don't have My Cases functionality. So how do I get them access to my case documents? Well, you saw that anytime you successfully submit a filing through TurboCourt and its status goes to e-filed, the View Court Case Documents immediately becomes available for that case and all of the documents on that case. So I can have my paralegal file something and then they'll get the View Court Case Documents button. That's how they'll quickly get access to all the documents. What if I actually don't have anything to file into the case at this moment, but I want them to have access to the documents right now? That's what this third choice is when you come to this screen, requesting e-filing access. This is essentially the paralegal legal assistant saying, I need access to the case documents. That's all they're asking for. So they'll put in the case number that they're needing the access to for the case documents. I'm not an attorney, so I leave that unchecked. Okay. So which attorney are you associated with? Now for this scenario, this is very important, because if I select an attorney who's already been verified, but who's not a party to this particular case, we're not going to give you access. Okay? Again, the Connecticut probate courts is very particular about who they're giving access to, because it's so convenient to do this electronically, right? So there are a few extra precautions. So, you know, Mark is a verified attorney in our firm, let's just say, but he's not on this case. So I'm not going to select him to get access to these case documents. It's not his case. Whose case is it? Oh, Evan's on that case. Okay, I'm associated with Evan, and we know that he's on this case. So we'll go ahead and give you access to those documents. Okay, so that's how that works. So essentially, I'm providing the case number and the corresponding attorney. When I click next, if everything is good to go, a whole lot of things just happened automatically for you. We created a document for you called the request for e-filing access. We automatically sent it for you. We automatically accepted it for you. You now have access to all the court case documents on that particular case number, because you now have an accepted e-filed filing into that case. And so there it is, view court case documents. I really have no idea what documents are in here. Let's just see what's there. Okay, great. So got some real documents, including one that is confidential that I don't have access to as the paralegal. There you go. So anytime the paralegal or legal assistant needs access to the case documents in one of your cases, even if you don't have anything for them to file, just have them choose the third option that says, I just need access to this case number. They give the case number, your attorney name that's associated with this case, and within 15 seconds, they'll have access to all the case documents. Okay? Now, there is another way that you can have paralegals and legal assistants have access to the case documents without having to go through that, even though it's very fast, as you saw, and they're very easy. But I don't know, let's say you've got 15 cases and you want them to have access to all of them. And then they would do this 15 times. Not the end of the world, but there is a way to have it be faster. But again, this is a decision point for you all. If you make that paralegal a filing administrator, filing administrators have access to all of the filings. Okay? So if this person, even though they're not an attorney, is a filing administrator, then they will get access to the My Cases functionality for any of your verified attorneys. So Evan is a verified attorney. John is his legal assistant. So he makes John, or somebody in your firm makes John a filing administrator, and now John will have the My Cases functionality, even though he's not an attorney. When he clicks on, when the paralegal clicks on the My Cases functionality, notice he needs to indicate for which attorney does he want to look at those cases. And you will see a list of only the verified attorneys. So you may have a whole lot of other attorneys already registered in your firm for TurboCourt, but they haven't used it yet, so they haven't been verified. But Evan has, and so now the paralegal can go look at all of Evan's non-confidential cases, for example. But just so you're aware, because it's a filing administrator, it means anybody's filings. So again, depending on the size and the nature of your law firm, you may or may not want to give this person the filing administrator role, to be able to see all of these cases. But it's definitely an option. Okay, a couple of other pieces of functionality, and then we will be wrapping in 10 minutes and moving on to Q&A. Aren't you glad it's being recorded? Okay, I mentioned when you first log in, top center of the screen, you've got you're looking at the 5 most recent filings you've been working on, but of course you can access and search for any of your filings. So here's how you do that. From this home page, you'll see this list all link that will take you to the search screen that will let you access any and all of your TurboCourt filings. On your user menu, there's a link called My Forms. Again, we use these terms synonymously. So my forms, my form sets, my filings, that's all one and the same thing. It takes you to the same search screen. So I'll go ahead and click on the My Forms link. And now I'm at a search screen. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to log out as this person because they are an administrator. And instead, I'm going to log in as somebody who is not an administrator. They happen to be an attorney, but they're not an administrator. Okay, so they go to My Forms because they want to search for their filings. And we're looking for filings now, right? Not necessarily, we're not looking for cases. We can go to My Cases to see my list of cases and access the documents. Now, for some reason, I want to specifically look for TurboCourt filings. Now, there's a number of reasons why you might do this. You might want to look for your filing because you need to add the keyword matter number. You forgot to do that, or you need to change it. Or you completed the first step, you answered the questions, but now you're going back to your desk to actually prepare the documents. Now you want to go and actually attach the documents, and you don't remember the form set number. That's okay, right? So search for a filing so that you can go ahead and proceed with attaching your documents. There's a number of reasons why you could use this functionality. So there are several fields here that allow you to search for your filings. By default, we automatically put in the created from field, and we put the date that is 30 days back from whatever today's date is. So you're immediately going to be shown 30 days worth of your filings. Okay, so that's all you're needing to see is it was recent. I did it last week. I just don't remember the number. That would be, you know, it's going to be there right away for you. But let's say you do use the keyword matter number field. And I want to find all the filings I've ever done for my client A-23456. I don't actually know how many filings are here, but we'll see what it comes up with. All right, so I've done 3 filings for them. Imagine it was 20 filings, right? All right, well, what have I done for this particular client in 2019? What have I done for this client on a specific case, right? So then I could put the case number in. So you can use these fields in any combination. What have I filed on case 0413? All right, I've done 13 files on that case, filings. And when I look at the search result, every row here is a unique form set filing, okay? So depending on what I just searched for, they may all be on the same case, they may be different cases, it depends on my search criteria. But every row is a unique form set filing, and if I click on that form set number, I can actually go into the filing and do whatever I need to do. Look at the documents. If it was an e-filed filing, the View Court Case Documents button will be there. So this is a really useful tool, again, for paralegals and legal assistants. I need to look at the documents, great. I'll just go find the e-filed filing on that particular case number. That will take me to the View Court Case Documents button. So I'll give you an example of that. Yeah, there we go. So let's pretend I'm the paralegal and not the attorney. I find an e-filed filing, and in fact, I'm going to save myself some time and specifically say I only want to find my e-filed filings. There's one, great. I go to it, and there's the View Court Case Documents button for me. I get access to all the documents, right? So again, this would be one way for a paralegal to use that. I'll click on the List My Forms button right there. It can take me back to this search screen. I've been very busy the last few weeks. Do I have any outstanding filings that the court hasn't actually processed yet that are still in delivered status? I don't remember, I don't know. Let's take a look, right? And so you can find if you've got any filings you're still waiting for the court to process. So you can use the status of the form set for search purposes, right? So you can use these fields in any combination, and it's very helpful. Very important thing to note to try to wrap your head around. If I submitted the filing, it's my filing. If the paralegal submitted the filing, it's their filing, even though they did it on my behalf. When I go to my list of filings as the attorney, let's just say, I'm not seeing the filings that the paralegal did, even though they did them on my behalf. Now, I can see all the documents, right? Because I'm the attorney, I can see all the documents that my paralegal has been filing. But if for some reason I actually want to go into the actual filing that was used to submit those documents, each person who created the filing, they're the owner of the filing, okay? So it's another thing for you to just be aware of. And it's usually not an issue. It's more of like an administrative thing, like, oh, we need to update the, you know, the keyword matter number, or, okay, now it's time to attach the documents. And if the paralegal's been doing the filing, they're the ones who are going to be attaching the documents for you anyway. Here are the documents, please attach them, right? So it's not like you necessarily need access to each other's filings, but just so you know, there's a distinction between cases, which as an attorney, you've got access to all of that, and the actual TurboCourt filings, which are separated, okay? Except if you're a filing administrator, right? Because a filing administrator has access to all the filings. So let's log out as a regular user and let's log in as a filing administrator. Okay, this person happens to be a filing administrator. When they click on My Forms, they get the same search screen, except that they have another field created by. Whose filings do I want to look at? Now I'm not just looking at my own, I'm looking at potentially every filing that the firm has done. So by default, this is selected to all, everybody's. But I can say, no, I just need to be looking at Evan's filings, or I just want to be looking at Heather's filings. And these are attorneys, these are paralegals, it's anybody who submitted filings in your firm. I have access to any of those filings. So now it's not just what filings has Evan done on behalf of this particular client, it's what has our entire firm done on behalf of this client, right? In fact, you'll notice there's 49 filings for that same time frame, because as the filing administrator, they're seeing not just that one attorney's filings, they're seeing everybody's filings. But if I say, nope, I just want to look at what Evan has done for that particular, in this case, it's just a time frame. So he's done 28 filings in the last 30 days, whereas the entire firm has done 49. And again, I can narrow it down. I can put in a specific case number or a particular keyword matter number and narrow it down. So you're going to want to give some thought to who should have filing administrator access, okay? Okay, I'm going to show you one more thing, and we're going to switch over to questions and answers. Viewing and paying your outstanding balances. So if you are sent an invoice, you'll receive it electronically, and you can pay it through the system if you'd like. Okay, so I've logged in, I'm looking at the documents on this case, and I was sent an invoice. They're referring to it as a billing summary by the court. I'm going to go ahead and open up that invoice. So there's a statement ID, like an invoice ID, right? Case number, case name, who it's to, what it was for, any outstanding balance, and there you go. So I owe $75 apparently. Okay, so I want to pay that, and I'm going to do that electronically through the system. So to do that, very simple. Click here to start. For which court is it? And now I have my fourth option. I would like to pay an outstanding balance. Okay. What's the case number? What is the statement ID? And how much would you like to pay? You don't have to pay it in full if you don't want to. I'm just going to say $10. Nothing more for you to do. What's the case number? What's that statement ID? How much are you paying? We will immediately take you to LexisNexis. If you had them save your payment information for future use, you won't even have to enter that, right? Or if you enter it each time, that's fine. Let's say for some reason the credit card doesn't go through this time, or let's say you get here and you realize, oh, wait a minute, I want to put that on a different credit card and I don't have that with me right now. It's okay either way. Just click cancel. It'll return you to TurboCourt, and let me show you what TurboCourt did behind the scenes for you while that was happening. We created a document called the Payment Balance Voucher. When I view it, okay, current status, of course, is not paid. When you're ready to make your payment, you got your new credit card or whatever that is, click submit. We'll take you back to LexisNexis, make your payment, you'll get a receipt, you'll get confirmation, the court gets the money, everybody's happy. Okay? It's very, very simple.